We're good. All right, welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Yeremiel, and I am one of the owners here at 11 Acres Farmstead. And man, have we got some work set for us. I've got a lot more seedlings to plant today. We've got about 1,000 already done for this season. To be honest, I'm a little behind schedule. We've had so much that we're doing here at the farmstead. And so now I am ensuring that we are getting ourselves set up for being certified naturally grown. If you're not familiar with that, it's an amazing certification that we are working to achieve. So we're ensuring that all of our practices are in alignment with all of those standards so that all of you that choose to partake in our produce can rest assured that there are guidelines into how everything is grown, and that means all the way down to even the soil medium. So today I'm going to be working on doing a little bit of sieving. That's what this little tray here is that I've made. Getting out some of the big parts of this bagged soil here. We'll talk about that in a minute. I haven't used this product before. It is OMRI listed. So we're going to rip into that in a minute. I'm going to shake some of this up, see what we come up with. But I also have here some premium Thunder Acres coconut core pith. Ultimately, it's cocoa core. This too is also OMRI listed, so it's for organic use. I've got a red bucket of some water back here. So we're gonna, while we're doing everything else, I'm gonna go ahead and rip this open. If you're not familiar with using this as a medium, it's an inert matter, so that it doesn't have any nutrients in it. There we go. It doesn't have any nutrients in it, so it's not gonna feed your plants. But it does help with retaining some moisture in the soil to, keep you from having to water so often. And it's just good to use. I enjoy using it. I guess it's subjective. If you like to use it, you like to use it. If you don't, you don't. So, like I said, I've got my little bucket here. Drop that in some water and just let it sit there over time so it'll do its thing. Like I said, I've never used this before. It is a Miracle-Gro product, to be honest with you. I don't like using stuff from the stores like this. I prefer to make my own. We just haven't been able to do it yet because I haven't turned the beds yet. That happens next week. And I don't want to just go out there and start digging holes everywhere that I'm going to have to turn around and go back and fill at some point after that. And it seems counterintuitive to me. So unfortunately, I had to go to the big box stores and buy some stuff, and I had a Lowe's nearby, and this was the only organic option that they have. And it's just not the fact that it's organic, because it says organics on it. It is OMRI listed as well. Now, if you've ever used any bagged products before, you'll notice that you always end up with some big stuff in there like this. These are wood chips that came in my last batch. So I was thinking Lowe's might have a better product. We're gonna give it a shot if this Miracle-Gro stuff is any good. It's got a lot of big stuff in it too. Oh man, at least it looks hydrated. We're gonna roll the sleeves up a little bit. It's a little chilly out today, so keeping the hoodie on. Now, I built this sieve, if you're not familiar with what this is, and ultimately, these help you out to be able to sift or sieve or sieve, depending on where you're from, out material to keep large material up top, and any material that passes through the holes will go through into whatever receptacle you have. I'm just using this little plastic tote here. And this is just some screen mesh, like chicken wire mesh, if you will, almost, that you get from your local hardware store. Build a frame out of a box. Instead of using 2x4s, I use some 1x5s, 1x6, 5.5, and screw those together. Use some panhead screws here, lathe screws to be more precise, and held the screen down. It's built to the size to where it goes right over this box. So I'm going to dump some soil in here and get my workout on. You'll see what I mean here in a minute. It's very awkward, but it's okay. You'll enjoy it. You just got to throw some music on or something, or just have music going in your head. I always have music in my head. All right, so I'm gonna dump this out here. I'm digging in here, and I should probably take my wedding ring off. My wife's gonna not be too happy about that. Hey, it stayed clean. Everything else around it is just dirty. Like so. I know you can't see that. Give it a shake. Now I know it's like, oh, that seems like a lot of work. It can be, but I promise you, it's this type of work here. And there's automated ways, there's bigger ways, there's easier ways to do it. This is just, you know, it's the cheap way to do it. And if you don't mind muscling stuff a little bit, it works and it's a workout. Just think of it like that. Enjoy the time you have here. All right, so that is what remained. So I take those wood chips, I add them to that chip pile here, and now you can see how good this looks. Look at that. Come on in for a close-up. Come on in. Look at that. All right, so I'm gonna keep on shaking this for a few, get this bin somewhat full. Break up some of these big clumps in here. I do like how the moisture level that's in this, granted, it's just been sitting outside, so it's not on them that's gonna fluctuate. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake that soil. You have to remember to breathe. See, I act like I'm actually mixing this because it needs to be done. I'm actually just taking a breather. That looks great. Oh, it's about 98% there. Let's give it one more good shake. Look at all that. Save that. That's still good material. It's just not good for what I need done right now. Beautiful. We're gonna bring up some trays. Turn this cocoa core. Oh yeah, look at that. Still got a little ways to go on this. We'll just fast forward this part for you. How's that? Good to go. Okay, so I have enough in here that is broken apart and hydrated to where I can add it to this soil mix here and get it nice and constituted, mix it up really well. This is extremely saturated, so I'm gonna wring it out because this has a good moisture content to it. So, hear all that? I don't wanna throw it in clumps because then it's kind of hard to mix up, so I don't wanna break it apart. Now when I'm doing this, I'm feeling the weight because I know what the dry weight feels like. I know what it feels like when it's completely logged. So you're trying to check the weight here. It's really hard to describe if you've never done it. But if you have, you totally know what I'm talking about. Keep adding this in. Now I know some people are probably thinking, how much of this are you supposed to put in? You know, every grower is gonna be different. How every person does their process is gonna be different. How we do it here is gonna be different. So I would never say this is how you're supposed to do something. This is just how we do it here at Loving Acres Farmstead. You know, there's millions of ways to do different things. Whatever you feel like you should do, get it done. And I'm gonna mix this in here. Probably gonna add some more, but I wanna mix it in first, get a good view of it. Now, if you're wondering what I do, sometimes I'm at about, 20, maybe 30% of that material mixed in. And as far as a brick, for what I have there, I'm probably using maybe half the brick when all said and done. The only thing I feel like it's missing are some red wigglers. We'll incorporate those here at the farm at some point. We had them back at our other one, back in Kentucky. So once we get everything going, we will absolutely have worms. Wait a minute, it doesn't sound right. We are going to have worms. I gotta think before I speak a little more. We've got worms, y'all. I know. It's okay. It's okay to be awkward. My wife has a shirt, I think it's a sweatshirt that says, "I'm awkward." It's so fitting. Now that I'm all messy, there you are. Check that out. This is, to me, perfectly hydrated. I'm squeezing it and I'm not getting anything wringing out, but it holds its form. You see that? Now that right there is a really good test, okay? It holds its form, look at that. And it's not wringing out any water. Catch! Just kidding, just kidding. Now, that would have freaked you out if I actually threw it at my phone and it came and looked like it was hitting you in the screen, right? You ever watch those video clips? You're like, oh, because a baseball is like flying at you. I just don't want to get my phone dirty. So now I'm going to take my 6-cell trays, flimsy ones, and I'll explain why right now. For one, they're just less expensive. Those heavy duty 6-cell trays, they get quite costly with the amount you need, but I do use the heavy duty 10-20 trays. I buy them in bulk. A lot of people pay a little too much, and when you're doing things at scale or you're just starting out even, you know, it's very difficult to go and buy all the cool stuff that everybody's getting, you know, the colorful trays, and, you know, it just gets costly. But when you're doing, you know, 1,000 starts or so and then some, and that's like every couple weeks, it gets expensive. So sometimes these are the way to go, and you can dispose of them when they get bad. If you take care of them, you can wash them up so you don't have any issues. But, you know, again, to each their own. We like to be, you know, cost effective. We're conservative in the sense of fiscal responsibility. We don't just burn money. When you're growing stuff, you know, you have to steward everything. At least we think so. We have to steward everything appropriately, and I think that if we're just blowing money on cool gadgets and neat little tools and not putting forth the actual effort and the labor and using things within reason, you know, for us, we feel like, you know, it could change things for us. So we just want to honor everything and respect the process, and just, you know, be good stewards of the stuff that we've been blessed with. So that's what we're here to do. So now what I'm doing is just dumping all this in. I typically throw my hands around the edges here. That way I can keep everything kind of in the field, so to speak. And once I get a nice soft, now I'm not pushing, I'm just barely gliding over the top and letting the dirt kind of just fall right in. So now I'm going to give it a good little tap. And with this being nice and moist, it's going to drop in nicely. If your material is a little bit dry, it may not sink, so you'll need to tap your fingers over so that you can make sure that it all kind of fell into place. You don't want to have those empty spots in the bottom. Then the soil's not going to have contact with the bottom, and when you water from the base of your trays, the soil's not going to wick the water up to the root system. I'm doing just this one tray. There's better ways to do this. I'm just doing this just to show y'all, but you can line up a whole lot of trays and do, you know, I would ultimately line this table up and run all of these together just to save time. It gets a little messy that way, but it's efficient. So I'm going to scrape the top off to have a nice smooth surface. Now, had I not used that handmade sieve that I've got, I would have so many sticks and chunks of wood that are sitting on top that are in the soil. So as I go to put the seeds in here, it would prohibit me from even poking into the soil because I might hit a wood chip. So now, take what I spilled, put it right back into the bin. Now the 1020 tray that I just got finished filling, I'm actually going to swap out to another because there's a lot of soil in the bottom of that tray from me shaking it up. So I like to have a clean tray so that when I water in the base of the tray, see that pile there? I don't have all of that sitting in the tray. Now, is it more work? Sure it is. But I like to have a clean workstation. I even sanitized my table before I started. I spent 10 years in the medical field, worked in the OR, so I got to assist in surgery. I had a degree in sterile technique, like true sterile technique. Even how I work with things, how I prune even, how I work with the roots, I use aseptic technique as if I'm in a sterile field. Granted, I'm not gowned up. I'm not wearing surgical gloves, but believe me, I would. Now, when we do mushrooms, because that's something on our radar, we're going to do mushrooms at some point. I've been studying a lot over the past couple years on that. Started doing some inoculations and things back in Kentucky, and we will have a specific area for mushrooms here on the farm at some point, because medicinal mushrooms are phenomenal. Okay. I don't have another tray to clean the trays. I'll be right back. I got another tray. Now that I have these trays completed, it's time for me to start doing some seeds. I have no idea what seeds I'm gonna plant. Just kidding. I have a lot of different seeds to plant. Lots of lettuces, some more rounds of some brassicas. Getting ready to start some of the summer stuff. All right, well there you have it. That's my process. I don't know if it's the best process, the right process, but that's my process. That's how we do it here at Loving Acres Farmstead. That's just a small set. I have more trays to do, of course, than this. This is just all that I can fit on the table at one time. So I have quite a bit more to get planted. So I'm gonna get to work, and then I got a lot of seeds to put in after that. I watch YouTube all the time to learn some new ways and new methods. That's how I learned about the tractor that we use. I saw it on some channels for some European market gardens. I typically look at Europe a lot. They understand agriculture very, very well. So I try to look at how they do their best practices on farming. And then as long as they coincide with the practices here that we're trying to achieve for the certifications, then we apply it. But I hope this was helpful for you. Look kind of behind the scenes, see exactly what we do here and how this gets done. So I'm gonna get to work. We'll see you guys in the next video. We appreciate you. Love and light, family. Love and light.